So, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jalen Demetrius. I'm here with my first official "Who is Jalen Demetrius" Q&A. I posted this video last Tuesday just as an opportunity to open the floor to people who wanted to learn more about me or get to know me on my journey. So that's what I'm going to do today. I want to just give myself a little more transparency with my music career. I feel like 90%, if not 100% of music is actually liking the person that you listen to as a person. So I just wanted to let you guys get to know me a little more and just kind of get my perspective on the little things. I have the questions here that I got from you guys. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the question. Also, this is all off the top of the head. Like, I didn't write any of this stuff down. This is just me kind of just free roaming it. So if it takes me a minute to think about something, just bear with me. I'm gonna try to cut out any excess stuff, but at the same time, I'm not gonna try to give you guys dry answers. I want to actually give you a legit answer and not just be like, an introduction about me. My name is, like I said, Jalen Demetrius. I am a rapper, songwriter, and producer. Over the course of, I've been rapping for maybe, I want to say 5 years, but I've been taking it serious probably about 3. I released my first mixtape in 2018 called 252's Finest, which is on YouTube, Spinrilla, Audio Mac, and SoundCloud. And last year, 2020, I released my first EP called 1999, and that is on all streaming platforms. Also, I released various singles here and there. So for those who want to do the research and go find some of my older work and just my work that's out, that's all of this in my bio. You can just click the different links and it'll take you to everything. And more music is on the way. I'm currently in the process of working on an album. Not really rushing it right now. Just kind of want to really take my time and make some good music. So more music coming from me very soon. But for those who want to go do the research, just to kind of catch up with what I've been released, all of this in my bio. So definitely go check that out. So to get started with the questions, first question is, where am I from? I'm from Tarboro, North Carolina. I'm a 252 native, born and raised. I live here my whole entire life. I was born in Scholar Neck, North Carolina. And then around kindergarten, we moved to Tarboro, and I've been here ever since. What school do I go to? I go to North Carolina A&T. I am a senior computer science student graduating this May. And when I tell you that the countdown is real, I'm ready to go. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate everything A&T has done for me, but it's time for me to go. My previous work, I already listed my previous work, but I'll say it one more time. 1999 on all streaming platforms, and 252's Finest on YouTube, Spinrilla, Audio Mac, SoundCloud, websites, those such. So, first question, how is college and life so far? Well, granted that I'm doing my last year of college here at the Crib University, it's not really the ideal way that you kind of wanted to end your college career, but I think I truly enjoyed my time at A&T. I loved everything about A&T, the people I've met, the experiences I've had, the opportunities I've had, the things that I was able to do. I think I say this, it's easy to say this because I go to A&T, but I don't think I could have went anywhere else. I think I made the perfect decision. I think going to A&T was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it's just, and the funny thing about it is I was only there for 2 years. So for those who don't know, or for those who do know, I went to early college. And what that is an opportunity to take like college credits at an early age to kind of get your associate's degree off the rip. So as a result of that, I was only at A&T I was on campus physically for 2 years, but then the pandemic happened and now I'm here at home for my last year. So I would say, but the thing about it, in 2 years, the amount I've learned has just been an amazing opportunity. How was life? I can't complain. I honestly can't complain. I feel like, at the end of the day, we're in a very strenuous situation, but, I'm still alive. I can't complain. I'm getting ready to move to another state, and I cannot wait for that. I don't want to say where quite yet. I'll let y'all know where I'm moving to when I'm actually there. But, I think I'm getting ready to move towards a new step in my life. I think I'm gearing towards adulthood, and I think it's very much needed. I'm very excited for what's to come. I personally believe that I kind of done everything I can do in North Carolina right now. Not to say that I would never come back. Of course, I'm coming back, and this is where I was born. But I think in my 21 years, going on 22 in March, I think I've kind of not overstayed my welcome, but kind of done everything here that I could. And I think it's just time for me to move forward and take advantage of, being in another place. So I can't wait. I'm very excited, and I really can't complain. Life is life is life, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm blessed, I'm alive, I'm happy to be here, so I really can't complain about nothing for real. During quarantine, who have I been listening to? That's a very hard question for me to answer because for those who know me, my music like taste is like all over the place. I'll listen to country, I'll listen to rock, I'll listen to rap, I'll listen to R&B, I listen to pop. So it's one of those things where I can't even give you a specific artist because over the course of the pandemic, that's when I started kind of digging deeper into other genres because that's when I started producing. And it became a thing that if I'm going to produce rap music and produce R&B songs, I kind of don't want to listen to it all the time. So I kind of started listening to a lot more pop. I listen to a lot more rock and roll now. But to give you just a few names, so I'll go off my Spotify. So during quarantine, when we first got, put on lockdown, my Spotify's top 5 were Pop Smoke, number 1, Future, number 2, Drake, number 3, Travis Scott, number 4, and Lil Uzi Vert, number 5, which was a very interesting thing to me because like it's one of those things that you don't realize how much you listen to these people until you see it. But after that, that's when I started to kind of branch away from rap music a little bit and just kind of expose myself to other people. I've been listening to Ariana Grande's album a lot. I've been listening to, who have I been listening to? The Weeknd a lot. I mean, I've been listening to The Weeknd, but just as a recent, I've been listening to him a lot more. And just basically really just trying to branch out. I think that's been my biggest thing over the course of 2020, going into 2021 is just expose myself to new forms of music just because there's so much out there. So I couldn't even give you a definitive answer of who I really been listening to because it's just so broad. What inspired me to get into music? So I'll tell the story for the people who don't know. If you've been following me since high school, you know the story. But so I was a freshman in high school. So even before that, so originally I would write raps, but never in my mind did it cross me, to be a rapper or to put these songs to actual, or put these lyrics to actual words. I would just do it for fun because it was just a cool thing to do. And so I would just have like random raps here and there. I would write me like one rap every few months, honestly. And then when I got to high school, still not with the intention of being a rapper, but I went to a small high school and everybody knew each other and everybody knew who I was. I mean, I was just kind of someone that was known. And there was an assembly. It was an anti-bullying assembly. Keep in mind, like previous to this, I never rapped on stage. I had done like plays and musicals and like random performances here and there, but never have I been on stage as a rapper. So that's when I was approached with the offer to perform "Where Is the Love" by the Black Eyed Peas. Me and 2 other people to do it on stage. I did the first verse and the second half. The first verse and the first half of the song. My friend did the second half and the third verse, and then we had a girl who could sing. And now, like I said, that was my first time ever being on stage as a rapper. And it was kind of cool though. So I was just like, all right, this is cool. But I still wasn't fully convinced yet. It was just like, because it wasn't my song. I was just doing it because I was asked to do it. Then at our school, every second semester, they had a talent show. And then something in me was just like, do the talent show. Like I said, I keep saying this because it's like a very important piece, but previously I was never a person that was rapping on stage or doing any, various forms of rap. I just was a fan of the music. I've always loved rap music. That's nothing new, but the idea of being a rapper had never crossed my mind. And so I did the talent show. I did a freestyle. I did a 3-minute freestyle to Do Something by Corey Guns, the instrumental. Why at that song, I don't know. Like at the time, it was probably just what I was listening to, and I'm about to just do a freestyle to this beat. So I did a freestyle I wrote it and I did it on stage and then I won. And so after that, there was nothing you could tell me at that point. And so after that, that's when I started to dive deeper more into making my own music. So that's when I bought my first microphone and I just started to record myself and just do different, performances and all that around the neighborhood. And that's when I got the idea to do my first mixtape, which was just, like I said, is a collection of remixes because at the time I didn't have any beats. So I was just like, I'm going to just get all these random beats that were popular at the time and just start rapping on those. And so that's kind of how it started. Just, if I hadn't got the opportunity, I probably wouldn't have been rapping for real. I don't think. So that was a cool little experience. And I think it kind of gave me the confidence to okay, this might be something you're good at. Because I would always get good feedback. People would always tell me I was a good rapper. People would always tell me I could do this, and that's what gave me the confidence to start doing Instagram raps and then start making my own songs, and it just kind of transition more and more into his own thing. Who are my musical influences? So this probably might be my favorite question so far. So I definitely thought about this one a little bit, and it's something that's kind of always been in my mind. I'll give y'all my top. This is my top 5 people who I believe shaped me the most as an artist and the most as an individual. In no order of skill, but number 1 will always be number 1 no matter what. So number 1, the person who I believe influenced me the most is Jermaine Cole. J. Cole, Carolina's finest, straight out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. That is the person who I believe gave me the most confidence and gave me the idea to be an artist the most. Of course, J. Cole is J. Cole, one of the greatest artists of our time when we think about the people who are changing music, and the people who, one of the people who is the best new artist, not even new, but just one of the best artists of our generation. J. Cole is always in that conversation. And to be one of the biggest artists on the entire planet and be born an hour and 30 minutes away from me, if that doesn't show you that anything is possible, nothing will. J. Cole has been an artist that I've been listening to since the beginning. I think I got first introduced to J. Cole on, not Friday Night Lights, The Warm Up. That was the first J. Cole album I listened to, and after that, he was my favorite artist. So my favorite artist to this day. Jermaine Cole, I owe a lot to Jermaine Cole just in the way he's inspired me to, one, obviously be a rapper, but to produce and rap. That was kind of the person who I would always think about when I first started producing, or when I first started doing my own thing. It's like J. Cole did his own thing and he could rap. So that was kind of something that always inspired me for sure. Number 2, Kendrick Lamar. That should say a lot in itself. The funny thing is, when I first started rapping, I would get a lot of Kendrick Lamar comparisons. Just not even off the strength of like rapping like him, just the way my voice sounded. Because I think we have similar voices, and just the way it's not overly loud, but it's still, you still get your point across. And all these people that I'm about to name, is like, of course, the music is the thing that really gave me the go ahead to actually make my music. But when you think about their story, Kendrick Lamar, of course, I'm not from nowhere like Compton, but someone who is from this place where, you don't think a lot goes on. There's not a lot of things coming out of this place. Of course, Compton has a lot more people coming out than Tarboro, but a person who is very much aware that they're much bigger than the environment that they're from, and who just understands that with hard work, with determination, with persistence, that you can break through your environment, but still give a lot of love to where you're from. I don't care how big I get, I will always represent the 252. I will always represent where I'm from. So it's one of those things that I appreciate him from that aspect. He never forgot where he's from, and I promised to myself that I would never forget where I come from. That's that's not even an option. So Kendrick Lamar, Drake is a very big inspiration, especially nowadays as I get older. Like, I've always liked Drake just because, Drake makes good music, but as I get older and start to really understand, the things that Drake talk about, and just diving more into Drake's subject matter, that's someone who always kind of gave me the confidence to just be yourself, and just to kind of, leave it all on the track. Like, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't do. They don't really give their fullest self to their music. So I think that's kind of a lane that I definitely want to step in. It's something that I want to do more of, and just really give myself and my experiences in my life to my music. And I think Drake is someone who has always kind of inspired me to do that. The next one, I know he's kind of wilding out right now, and he might be a little problematic right now, but I still have to acknowledge that he influenced me a lot. Lil Wayne is one of my biggest influences as a rapper, for sure. Lil Wayne is the reason why I did my first mixtape. Like I said, my first mixtape was a collection of remixes. Who else do you know does mixtapes with nothing but somebody else's beat and just goes off on other people's beats? So I think Lil Wayne was someone who inspired me very early on. Like, even, I think Lil Wayne was probably one of the first rappers I was really listening to. I remember in middle school all the way up to high school, it was a mission when Lil Wayne dropped the album or mixtape to learn every song word for word and be able to rap the song verbatim. And to this day, I can still rap a lot of those songs. So I think that's someone who gave me the confidence to just be a good rapper, like, just to have fun and to always give your best to a track. Like, if you listen to some of my older music, you can definitely hear the Lil Wayne influence. I challenge anybody to go listen to my older songs. Go on my YouTube and listen to my older songs. The Lil Wayne influence is 100% there. Just the punchlines, the ability to rap, and just going on someone else's track and just making it your own. I think that's something that always been very cool to me, and I think that's kind of what gave me my start before I started making my own music. And lastly is Jay-Z. Jay-Z, that comes from my father. My dad's a big Jay-Z fan, and I remember growing up, I would always hear him listening to Jay-Z. I always talk about Jay-Z. You can't see it right now, but I got a Jay-Z poster right there. Jay-Z is someone who, of course, is a phenomenal rapper. Like, that's not even up for debate. But to be able to transcend music and to, like, have a brand that's a lot bigger than your music, because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of money in music. It's like, if you get to that point where, you can start, making a lot of money, great. But in actuality, even then, that's not a lot. A lot of artists get paid off shows. Like, streaming isn't very much of a profitable thing. But for someone like Jay-Z to understand that is more money out there, I think that's kind of a mentality that I like to have. Like, for one, I'm not just a rapper, I'm also a programmer. So I haven't started yet, but I have an actual job, and then that job could branch off into starting a tech. Like, it's so many avenues out there aside from just music, and I think that's one thing that a lot of artists might not understand. A lot of artists kind of are in a mentality where it's like, if I don't make it with this, there's nothing wrong with it, which is fine to have that mentality, because I feel like that's what's going to give you the drive to do it. But at the same time, there's a lot of other ways out there to make money. And I think Jay-Z is kind of someone that showed me that. And I think to this day, I like to try to follow his business blueprint and kind of, maneuver in the same way that he did to get to that point where, maybe one day I will be a billionaire, So I think that's kind of my top 5 biggest influences as far as music go. But at the same time, I'm also influenced by everything. Like, I don't mean this to sound cliche, but I definitely can find inspiration in anything. Not even just musical artists. If you're an artist, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer, like, if you just make good music and have good quality and you are a good person and you take pride in what you do, then I'm already inspired. So I think that's something that has kind of been with me for a very long time, I believe. How has living in the 252 influenced anything I've done? I've been waiting on this question. How has living in the 252 influenced anything I've done? I think being from the 252, and all my 252 natives can feel this question. I'm going to try to, this is one of the questions I was talking about where I don't want to just give a dry answer. I think I'm going to probably got to go in depth a little bit, so bear with me. It's not going to be a long question or answer, but I'm going to give some context. I think being from the 252 puts a very healthy chip on your shoulder. I think we come from a place where, and of course, this is not just a 252 thing, but of course, I can only speak on where I'm from. I know this same mentality can happen anywhere, but I want to speak on where I'm from. I think being from the 252, like I said, it puts a healthy chip on your shoulder, and you understand that where you're from is not a lot of opportunity, and that it's very easy to get stuck. And what I mean by stuck is that, once again, this can happen anywhere, but we all know those people that once you leave to go do something else, you come back and they're doing the exact same thing. I think being here in the 252 is very easy to be one of those people if you don't see past it. And I like to bring this up all the time. When you go to college parties and you hear, what's your area code? What's the loudest area code you hear? 252. But I think that's a lot deeper than just us liking the party. I think, because we do like the party, but I think that's a lot deeper than that. I think being from the 252 is one of those things that the reason why they're so loud at the parties, because yes, there's a lot of us, but not a lot of us get to that point. You know what I mean? And I think it's a pride thing. It's one of those things that we know how easy it is to not be anything. We know how easy it is to get stuck in your environment. We come from a place where if you don't have that mentality, that drive, that desire to actually be better than the environment, you're going to be stuck. Like, that's just what it is. And I think, like I said, that's why you hear it so loud at parties, because we're just happy to be at a place where we can make something of ourselves. And once again, this isn't to make in a way to sound sad or to make it seem like, we're in distress or something. We're perfectly fine. But I think being from the 252 is one of those things where you understand that nothing's going to be given to you. That's life in general, but you understand that there's me as an artist. I'll use myself as an example. I understand that no promoter is gonna, not promoter, but no A&R is gonna walk up to me tomorrow and be like, you want to sign a deal. It's like, the chances of that happening around here are very slim. And I think that kind of gave me the drive to understand that, you got to get out of here. My biggest goal is to come back and bring opportunities to this place for sure, because I understand what it's like to grow up, and I'm blessed to be in a situation where I was able to experience a lot of things and able to see the world and able to try different things. But the truth of the matter is, not every kid gets that opportunity, and those kind of sometimes end up being the ones who don't have that mentality of, oh, there's more out there. Because if you don't know, what would you be going for if you don't know there's more out there? So I think that's kind of what being from the 252 has done for me, and gave me the sense of independence to understand that, I want to create my own thing. That, opportunities, like I said, aren't going to just be given to you, and that sometimes you really have to create your own opportunities for yourself and then create opportunities for others. So I think that's what the 252 has kind of done for me. It gave me that inspiration. I think it's been a very big inspiration for me. And also, this is another philosophy that I like to have. The 252 breeds people who understand that it's a lot better to do your own thing. Like, you see a lot of artists, a lot of dancers, a lot of rappers who are more content with creating their own opportunity than to just find someone who gonna put you on. Like, I think that's the reason why you don't see a lot of, at least this is what I think, the reason why you don't see a lot of North Carolina people in like the industry, not even just the music industry, like a lot of different industries, because we understand the importance and how good it is to make your own opportunities. So the idea of, let me go in this industry, whereas people who, and that's another thing I'm gonna get into later on, but whole idea is people who don't really care about what I do or care about my art or care about me. So I would much rather create my own situation and be the person that's giving other people opportunities. So I think that's what the 252 does for a lot of us. It just gives us, like I said, a healthy chip, and you understand that there's more out there and that you're a lot bigger than your environment, which is something that we take a lot of pride in, for sure. Do I feel like my style has changed any? I can equate that to fashion style as well as my musical style. So I'll do fashion first. I think fashion-wise, for sure. I think the person who asked this question, you went to high school with me, so back in high school, my only objective was to match from top to bottom. If I had on red, blue, and white shoes, I had to have on a red, blue, and white shirt, and that was just me at the time being young. But I think as I've gotten older, my style has kind of transitioned more into like definitely a cozy style. Like, I think being in college kind of gave me that mentality. It's like, if you walk across campus, I'm gonna make sure that I'm comfortable while I'm walking. But at the same time, being in college exposed me to, like, I'm gonna say it right now, being at A&T, I've seen some of the best dressed people I've ever seen in my life. And I think A&T kind of gave me that confidence where it's like, okay, we'll be cozy, like wearing sweatpants and nice and comfortable shoes, 5 days out of the week or 4 days out of the week. But one day when you get dressed up, you got to step. So I think A&T kind of gave me that mentality where it's like, okay, when you step, you definitely got to step for sure. And I think that's kind of something that I've taken with me now that I'm getting ready to venture off to somewhere else. I think my goal, as I want to redo my wardrobe, but I think my goal is to move towards more of a combination between cozy and not minimalist, but like things that don't have to say too much. So, cause we all know those people who, when they dress, is like, you could tell they're trying too hard to be seen. I think I want to reach an aesthetic where it's like, okay, I'm comfortable. Like, that's a big thing for me now, comfort. If I'm not comfortable, if the shoes aren't comfortable, I don't care no more. Like I was a Jordan head for sure, but let's be honest, some Jordans are not comfortable at all. So that's kind of when I was like, all right, this is not about that no more. So I want to move towards a aesthetic where it's like, it's a comfortable piece, and it's also one of those things where it speaks for itself. I think that's kind of where I'm trying to get. And I don't necessarily mean that in an aspect where I have to get something that's like designer and worth like $1,000. No, but I want to move more towards more just statement pieces, and I want to get better at my accessory game. That's why you see me wearing a lot of hats more, because I'm trying to get better at accessorizing. But I want to reach that point where it's like, if I have a fit on, I like the idea of if you know type outfit. So it's like, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to flash like, look at me type outfit. But when you see it, you know what's going on. And as far as my music goes, 100%. Like I said, I mean this when I say if you feel like it, I want people to go back and really listen to my old music. Like go on it's on my YouTube. Go on my YouTube and just like scroll to the bottom. Like my very first songs, they're not bad, but it's like you could definitely hear the difference now. And I think that's kind of something that's kind of shaped me. I moved from a mentality of when I first started rapping. Like of course that's still the mentality now. But the real mentality when I first started rapping was, okay, let me just show you I can rap. And I still kind of had that on my shoulder a little bit. But nowadays I'm moving towards more just creating good music, but still letting it be known that, yes, I can rap. But I don't have to get on every track and be like a lyrical miracle no more. I can get on the track and say some of the most basic raps, in my opinion. But as long as I get my point across and say what I want to say, I think that's kind of where I'm moving towards with my musical style, and I think it's working. I think I'm definitely moving towards that with some of my last few songs, like Diamond in the Sky. I think lyric-wise, I've definitely had more lyrical songs, but I think the message and what I'm trying to say is definitely very evident. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to with my style. From the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020 to the start of 2021, what would I say has been the biggest change in who I am as a person? I would say becoming a lot more patient, I believe. I think for the longest, a big problem with me was that, of course, I think it's with a lot of people that you kind of want what you want when you want it. And I had to understand that, it's not for me to determine when I get these things. Of course, as an artist, I want the accolades. I want to be, renowned. I want to be someone who is known for my music. But at the same time, I had to understand that it's a process. I think that was something that really hit me like a ton of bricks when 2020 hit. Because the funny thing is, when 2020 hit, like we went on lockdown as soon as I turned 21. So like on my 21st birthday, that's when everything started to kind of like shut down. And it showed me, it's like, bro, things are not going to go how you want them to go. It's like, so I caught the early in the day. A lot of people, birthdays was in like November. So of course it might still hit you, but you had time to prepare. Like as soon as I didn't even have time to prepare. It's like, Joe, 21, the world is shut down. So it's like, I think that experience put it into perspective a lot, that sometimes things aren't going to go your way. And I think that was something that I always knew, but it kind of hit home a lot harder. And I think it kind of gave me there's like, you have to work within the things you control. That was a big problem for me. I think 2020 to 2021, I had to just understand that it's not in your control. Things are going to happen. Things aren't going to happen. But how you respond to those things is what really makes who you are as an individual. And I think that's something that I learned a lot over the course of that time. And also just having a plan. I've always had a plan, but I think being a lot more methodical in what I do and just having a structure. I think structure is a thing. So, but it's weird though. So this is the most structured yet unstructured I've been at the same time. And what I mean by that is that I have a goal, I have a plan, I have an idea of what I want to achieve. But at the same time, I try not to limit myself to preconceived ways of doing it that I give myself. So what happens is like, okay, you might say, oh, I want to make beats all day. But then what happens when you don't feel like making beats? Of course, you want to be diligent and remain diligent, but sometimes you just generally don't feel like doing it. And that, are you going to beat yourself up because, you want to give yourself a rest day? So I think definitely having a lot more thoughts about what I do. And I also started writing down my thoughts a lot more. I have a journal back here. And that's something I started doing like at the beginning of 2021. I think for me, I have a lot of thoughts in this noggin, and that sometimes I just let them sit, and that sometimes I'm my own worst critic sometimes, and I kind of just let these thoughts like run through my mind and really get to me. So like when you can write these things down and really think about what you're saying, I think that's been kind of one of the biggest investments that I've made. So that's definitely how I kind of adjusted 2021, just being more mindful, just trying to be more aware and just be more present. I think for so long I was too busy worrying about what's to come. Like, of course, that's not a problem, but at the same time, when you're so focused on what's going to happen, you're missing out on what's going on right now. So I think that's kind of been my adjustment over the course of 2020, 2021. Just being more present. I think that's really a big thing for me. And I'm working on it every single day. And to stop comparing myself to others, because y'all saw my post about how, on Spotify I had like maybe 120 streams, which I'm 100% grateful for sure. Like I'm 100% grateful for anybody that listens to my music, but it's one of those things that, stop comparing yourself to other people. Just keep your head down, put the work in, and everything else will fall into place. And that's kind of been something that I've been running with this year a lot. For sure. How do I feel about the way record labels handle artists? So I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to labels. I think, so I like to give this story when I speak on this. I'll start with this story, then I'll go off. So say you have a little black boy or black girl from the most rundown part of whatever state you want to put. They live with only their mama. They ain't got no money. Their mama barely struggling to make ends meet, but they got a little buzz on social media. They got a song that's doing, got 1 million views. And here comes insert generic record label here. And they offer this little black child $1 million to sign to their label. You think that little kid ain't gonna take that $1 million? They ain't never had nothing. They ain't never been nothing. They have nothing. You think that little kid ain't gonna take that $1 million to go feed their people? Okay, so here comes this star, or they only got one song, they popping, and the label tries to do whatever they can. Well, not even gonna say that. The label takes his artist and, gives them a little exposure and does this. But what happens when the well runs dry on that artist? You know what I'm saying? Now that label is taking this kid who only took this deal because they ain't had no money and just throwing him out and just doing the same thing with the next kid. And now that kid's back to square one. They had a little buzz for a little while, but now you ain't heard from them ever since. So I say all that to say, I think signing to a label isn't a bad thing. I think understand what you're signing and what you're getting yourself into. I say this all the time. I wouldn't sign to a label unless it's a situation that is not only but very beneficial to me, and I have to own my masters. That's something that's off the rip. I don't own my own music. Like that never sat right with me. Why would you sign to someone and not own your own music? This is your creation. This is what you created. So why would you let someone else own it? So that's point blank period. If that's not a situation, I'm not signing. But I just feel like if I was to sign, I want to go somewhere where I feel like I'm being valued as an artist, and that is about me as an individual, not just about my music. Because sometimes we're still human beings. People have lives, people go through things, and then what happens when you going through a midlife crisis, and then the label's like, oh, well, we need an album now. Like, I feel like, but I get it though. At the end of the day, it's a business. I fully understand that, but I think my advice is, or my intuition tells me, my plan of action is to stay independent for as long as I can. And if it reaches a point where, I can't do anything, or someone approaches me with a deal where I have my own music, I can own my own music, if they have my best interest in mind, then I will sign. But I think I just wish that, I feel like music is a creative thing, and I feel like I just wish that labels weren't so business minded. Don't get me wrong, I fully understand. I get it. It makes sense. I get it. But I think at the end of the day, we're still people, and record labels have a tendency to treat artists and individuals like they're not people. And I think that I would just say, know what you're getting into and make sure that despite the situation, that you always come out on top. I think that's what it's all about. You are the person that's making them money. So if your stipulations or if your goals or your ideas aren't met, then what are you doing? So I say I personally would stay independent and try to build as much buzz as I can. If I could get to a point where, I'm making all this money and making all this noise independently, it's probably going to stay that way. But if I do find myself signing to a label, I personally would rather sign to a artist. But even then, you got to be careful with it. But I would rather sign to an artist, someone who I feel like understands the process, understands me, understands what I go through as an artist / individual. And that would probably be my thought process. But once again, I said, as long as I own my music and I'm being valued like a person, I would sign to a label. But I think labels are they're okay. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's a business. So I think once you kind of understand that, you can judge it as you please. But my advice, I think we're moving to a point where a lot of artists don't even feel the need to sign. because of social media and what we've seen, you don't even need record labels no more. I mean, what can a record label do for you that you honestly can't do for yourself besides, give you a little more push and give you some extra money? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still about the music. You could have all the push in the world, but if your music trash, I mean, what you gonna do? So I think being independent is probably about to be the biggest wave for sure. So if you're an artist, definitely try to. I know it gets hard though. I mean, it gets hard for me too. But if you're an artist, definitely try to remain diligent. Not even like a musical artist, just an artist in general. Definitely try to remain diligent in creating your own situation, and just don't sell yourself for a little bit of money just to get hung dry at the end. Definitely try to have full control over what you create because it's your creations. So that's my piece. Last question. What is my biggest goal for 2021? So I have a lot of tangible goals, stuff that I wrote down. But I want to say, I think my biggest goal for 2021 and just life in general, I think right now I want to find a healthy balance between creating, living my life, making money, and just, those things. I feel like that's one thing that I've kind of struggled with for the longest, which is why I'll be transparent. This is why you really see a lot of gaps between the music I create. So like it might be 1 week you see me dropping 2 songs, and I don't drop another song for a couple months, and then here I am with the album. Like, I think I'm still working to find that balance right now, and I think I'm getting a lot closer to it. But I think just finding that healthy balance between actually enjoying life, because I mean, you need things to talk about, making money, because right now I'm not getting paid to make music. This is just something I generally love to do. So I actually have to work to make money right now, and actually creating. I think one of those things is like, I think a lot of people get caught in that rat race of like, where you don't really have that balance. So it's like you have this goal, you have these ideas, you have this vision that you want to reach, but you're so focused on, this 9 to 5, which again, there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5s. I'm not trying to be in a Be Simone situation, but you have this thing that you have to do in order to sustain your life, but you also have these goals that you want to reach. That is like you're not really being able to give that much time, because by the time you get out of work, you're tired. So I think that's something that I'm trying to get better at and find the balance, and just really find the true fun in making music, because I think that's half the battle right there. When you love what you do, it's not a chore anymore. So I think that's really my biggest goal right now, and to just move forward into my own situation. Like I said, I'm getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to be on my own. So I think getting started with that, I think that's about to be a very, very, very big step in my life. So I think I want to just kind of dedicate a lot of my efforts to becoming independent and just being able to sustain myself as an independent individual. And I think that's kind of where it is for me right now. I also just want to release more music. That's definitely a goal of mine, to release more music. I've never been trying to be in a Kendrick Lamar situation where it's like, oh, I drop an album every 3 years. I actually love to make music, but like I said, it's just finding that balance. And I think I want to release an album sooner rather than later. Like I said, I'm working on it right now. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out this year. If not this year, early next year. But I will, if that's the case, I will give people like, some music to kind of live off of between then. And I think I also just want to work with more people. I think a lot of times my career as an artist has just been me here in this room, playing this stuff and doing this by myself. I think I kind of want to reach a point now where I can work with other artists, work with other individuals, work with more people, and just kind of network. I think music is a very collaborative effort. And if you're not collaborating, you're doing yourself a disservice, I believe. I never wanted to be that artist where it's like I'm doing all this by myself. Like, while I can produce, while I can rap, it's like the goal was never to do it all alone. I want to produce for other people. I want to rap on other people's songs. I want, just to have that connection with other artists. So I think that's kind of where I'm moving towards. So I really think that's kind of my biggest goal for 2021. More so, I mean, like I said, of course I have like small, like tangible goals that can be seen and I'm working on every day. But those are kind of the things that I feel like I'm really living off of these days, and just kind of trying to live by those philosophies to kind of just help myself become a better individual, if that makes sense. So that's the Q&A. I appreciate everybody who sent me questions, who actually, had some questions for me to talk about. This is a good opportunity. Just like I said, it was an opportunity for me to let you guys know a little more about me and get to know who I am, and just so you can kind of gauge whether or not you still want to follow my journey or follow my music just because you got the chance to really talk to me. I think that was something that I've never really done over the course of my 3-4 years as a rapper. That I've never really opened myself up to really just talk to the people. So like I said, I thank everybody. I thank all the people who've listened to my music, all the people who's going to listen to my music. Definitely go check out my older music. A lot more is in store. I'm working on more music every single day. So a lot more coming from me, and I appreciate you guys for listening. Take it easy.